Welcome back to the second part of our guide to laying a real wood or a laminate wood floor. So the underlay is down and we're on to the actual bit where we actually lay the board. So the first thing to do is to check which way round the boards are going to go. We're in the corner of the room and you have to check whether or not it's the tongue or the groove side which goes against the wall. So we've checked with the instructions and in this case it's actually the tongue side which goes against the wall. So we do that. We've got our spacers which we got in our fitting pack. And we're going to lay the first board hard against the wall, but put a spacer there to give a gap. Now that expansion gap, remember, is really important because this is a real wood floor, so it's likely that it will expand and contract, so you leave a gap at the edges, so it gives it a chance to do that.
Start putting them together.
What, just like literally?
Just put them together, they click together really easily.
Okay.
Now, we are going to glue this, but we're not going to glue it yet.
Okay.
You don't have to glue it, but I like to glue it because it's a nice solid floor.
Okay.
So all we can do is just run a line up there so we can get a straight edge and work out how straight the back wall is.
Okay, because literally, why is that important?
Spend enough time doing this so that your first 3 runs are absolutely spot on. It saves you an awful lot more aggravation further across the board.
Okay, let's get on with that then. So literally one long board going...
Connect them all together, right the way. That's it.
In.
Okay.
More spacers.
A couple more spaces. Here's a half board, because the last thing we want to do is to have the joints all in the same place because it'll create a weakness, so they've got to be staggered, like a brick wall.
Okay, so we've cut one board in half.
Cut one board, put it up against the wall with a spacer behind it.
Okay.
Alright.
Carry on using spacers at the end of each row. Add a third row, still without using any glue. Once you have these 3 rows, you can really stand back and make sure they're straight and look right in the room. Remember, this is the time when you can easily move them around and get them perfect. Using your string line, check that the row of boards is perfectly straight. Completely relay the first 3 rows, applying adhesive to the end and side grooves, as well as the top of the tongues, tamping the boards into place and removing excess adhesives from the surfaces.
Still some glue here, was that a problem?
No, that's okay, because in your floor fitting kit you get the glue scraper.
Once you have the first 3 rows laid and glued, allow them to dry for at least a couple of hours before moving on. Then repeat the process. A dry run first, check it's all fitting well, then glue it.
Well, it's taken us a while, but the floor is now down and it's looking absolutely beautiful. Really delighted with it. Dave, it's just now a case of finishing off the edges, so what do we need to do?
Well, the last things we've got to do here are put the cork in, which is around the edge, this stuff.
Now this is the gap which we left to allow for expansion.
Right.
Why are we putting anything in it at all?
Because this floor's not actually attached to the floor underneath.
Right.
It can move, and that stops it moving too much. And then we've got this quadrant, which we bought earlier, if you remember.
This is just a finishing strip. Now this
That's right.
means you don't get to see the gap.
That's right, that hides the gap. That's a mitered joint there. How trusting are you?
Pretty trusting.
Good,
Right.
hold that nail right there.
Not that trusting.
Oh, that's what I figured. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of card underneath there so I don't bruise the wood with the hammer if I hit it by accident. Here's a little tip for you. Punch. If you're trying to whack a nail in from there, you'll slip off and bruise the wood. Just turn it around. Much bigger head. Now you turn it around and use the punch. Don't really go at it hard. There you go. Go on then, Martin. You have a go.
Okay.
Big end in first.
That's actually a brilliant idea.
It's good, isn't it?
Yep.
No, I'm not putting the card in this time because I'm coming down from the top. What I did with this was I put it on the saw, cut the mitre on it, and then by hand I've just cut the back away with a Stanley knife or a sharp knife. And this one fits over it like that. And when that's nailed on, it keeps that piece in the corner tight. And if you were going to do a mitre on that, you'd never get it just right. You know, a mitre's just going to open up, so...
So it is done.
It is.
It looks fantastic, doesn't it?
I'm really pleased with it.
How do we keep it looking as nice as this?
Well, most of the floors I've seen are pre-finished, okay? Check it on the pack. But all you need to do is clean it with a damp cloth. You don't need to use liquids or abrasives, you know, keep them well away from it. If you spill anything on it, just mop it up quickly. On the box, it'll tell you how many times you can sand it if it gets really worn. This one's, I think it said 5 times, but it just shows you how long this floor could last.
There you have it. What a difference this floor has made. And all you need to do is follow some simple pointers, take some good guidance from us, and you can end up the floor like this too. Moment of truth though, let's get Dad in. Dad!
Wow, it's magnificent.
What do you reckon?
I really am pleased with it.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
What did you get colour?
Great, yes. Very happy with it.
Rich brown, isn't it?
Don't forget you can get lots more details and top tips in the Good Ideas leaflet on this site if you're viewing via the web. Or go to www.wix.co.uk for this and lots more information. Good luck and look out for more in this series of video guides.